I want to talk about Norm when it comes to Fallout Season 2. If you haven't seen Season 2, or if you're watching, go ahead and skedoodle because there's going to be spoilers. Now, there was a lot that happened in this season, especially when it comes to Norm and how he was able to get out of the vault and everything, but I want to talk about his time in the Vault Tech building. He meets the two Philly residents that we meet in Season 1 that essentially help the Doctor and Lucy point them in the direction of where they need to go to take the cold fusion reactor. I'm actually quite surprised they survived that encounter, but it follows one of my favorite tropes. No body, no death, which is a theory that I actually think applies to someone within the group that Norm is traveling with. So we see Norm with a whole bunch of the executives from Vault 31 walking up to the Vault Tech building. After getting some advice from the two people that are already in there, they go up to the top building to try to find Barbara's office. Then Norm ends up having a conversation with Claudia and essentially admits that he is not upper management, and Claudia knows because she says that he's not absolutely crazy. But Ronnie is also someone that ends up overhearing this conversation and immediately starts going after Norm. He ends up choking out Norm, and all the executives start dragging him towards the exit of the building, and they're like, he's gonna get a fair trial, before they push Claudia into the elevator button that opens the elevator door and allows all these giant rad roaches into the upper floor. Everyone in a tizzy starts running away. Norm's able to hide behind a chair, but all the executives run into this one room. Norm is able to help an executive, and that executive is able to also escape into the room, but Ronnie stops Norm from getting inside. However, Claudia is able to get into the room, and so are a bunch of rad roaches. The door also closes, so no escape. Just a bunch of executives trapped in a room with rad roaches. Who wins? Not the executives. But Norm is just waiting it out, and after all the screams of panic and fear all die down and everything, he goes into the room to find an absolute massacre. One of the bodies that's moving is Claudia, and he ends up taking Claudia, finds a wagon of sorts, and starts wheeling her out of the building, and the last thing he says is, "Don't worry, I'm taking you home." Now, two theories. First, where does he mean by taking you home? Are they going back to the vaults, or is he taking her back to Claudia's actual home area? My first initial thought is they're going back to the vaults because he knows there's some kind of secret experiment that's going to be happening and he's going to want to stop it. I just don't think Norm realizes that the vaults are not Claudia's home, which I think could end up causing tension in season 3 if they do go back to the vaults. But I want to talk about Ronnie. Now, we don't see Ronnie in the room of the executives after they're attacked by the rad roaches. And one of my favorite tropes in TV is no body, no death. And that is because 90% of the time, it is accurate. I think Ronnie is still alive. I think he survived the rad roach room, and now he's going to try to hunt down Norm and Claudia and try to just essentially get even. Ronnie's not the only one that's still alive. Those are my thoughts on why I think Ronnie is alive. I also happen to think Woody is alive, but that is a conversation for a different video. I want to hear your thoughts. Go ahead and drop them in the comments below and let me know what you thought of season 2 Fallout.